I was
We did
telling
it.
Ben how much I like your Highlander album.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah, really. So Ben was giving me a little bit of a briefing on like went into your sound and your influences. Why don't you guys both tell me like how you came up with such a kick-ass sound for the album?
Well, what were
Dave, you
you
want to
saying,
go
Ben?
first?
You can go ahead, Ben.
Well, I guess part of our songwriting style is just it's very democratic, and we just keep pounding at the material until it takes a shape that we all agree with. We all have very distinctive musical tastes and very diverse musical tastes. We all enjoy the fact that the music that our sound is compared to so many different bands. Um, and we don't shy away from that. Definitely, I think having so many different influences within like the same song will inevitably makes it kind of harder to make the music flow together. And that's where the sound kind of is how we get all these things to kind of mesh, almost in a Quentin Tarantino esque kind of mere pastiche of different influences.
Okay,
Uh,
that's a very good analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the songwriting process happens in that way too, where sometimes, our guitarist Garrett or Ben or John, somebody comes in and they have, you know, a riff or a piece or a concept. We'll go with that. And sometimes the song ends up, you think you're starting at the beginning, but actually come to find out after time you started in the middle, or
Okay.
you kind of started at the end or some weird part. And so you kind of work backwards, and then something ends up just coming out of that in a non-intuitive order.
Oh, for sure.
So I like interviewing bands that have sounds like you guys. Like I just interviewed Byzantine, which is like similarly in the region, and they have all types of eclectic sounds. And for me, it's like, what is the like you guys were saying, like you think you're at the beginning, but really you might be in the middle or the end. And the same as a listener, you're like, where did they come up with this? Like, this feels jazz-esque, and then all of a sudden this feels Slayer-esque. And you're like, man, how did we go from this journey? Like your music is just rise, fall all over the place. And it's so nice because you can keep coming back to it and keep discovering new stuff. And it's not just
Mhm.
verse, chorus, verse. And it's just really a nice listen.
Well, thanks,
Well,
man. I appreciate you
appreciate
saying so.
Yeah, yeah.
Dave, you want to take that?
Uh, well, what would be the question?
I,
I
I
mean, I
guess
Well,
appreciate everything that you said is really kind, but
for sure.
uh,
But I guess it's like because you guys are working in a democratic process. Yeah, I guess I didn't really ask any question. But like since you guys are working in like a democratic process, like and you guys are kind of spread out with you being in Nashville, it's sort of like how do you come up like how does this like I know you guys are like yeah, it's democratic, but like do you guys like file share? Do you guys like meet up in person from time to time like on tours or
yeah. So,
well,
so
oh, sorry.
I will say that yes, we like to get together and we synthesize all the ideas together as much as possible. The thing is, when we work on stuff independently and we get back together, then part of the modus operandi is that we have to be completely open to revising any idea that, what I mean, we brought to the table, as many times as it needs to happen, you know what I mean? So we have to, kind of, be pretty selfless as far as surrendering material to the group as well. But also, in addition to that, then I will say that, you know, being that we're so focused on the live performance as a band, like that's what I'll say our strength is probably our live show. And so for us, like writing the songs all together and having that I feel like that's very important to the process too, that we're all there as an ensemble, you know what I mean, to make everything
yeah.
really tight and make the performance really shine. The music lends itself to being played live. Like that's kind of like it's a show in itself to watch us play that crazy ass shit. So
Yeah.
that's that is definitely a focus of the creative as well. Um, Hence why when we finally do get in the studio, we're beating our heads against the wall because we're like, oh my God, how do we now translate this into a recording that sounds that it makes sense, and has flow to it without the visual aspect.
Yeah. So you're saying that live it might be even better than the album.
Absolutely.
It's
Dude,
probably the preferred method. Yeah, I think.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like so stoked to see this. I sent this over to a bunch of buddies and they were stoked about it too. And I was like, man, you should fucking drive to Pittsburgh from the other side of the country just to catch the Descendants of Crom. Because not only are you guys like there, but like I was talking to my buddy yesterday. I was telling him, Dave, that we went out to Slayer yesterday, so I had like a long ass car ride in Hershey.
So awesome, by the way.
Yeah, dude, it was such a killer lineup, man. My fucking neck is killing me. And but my buddy and I were talking, we were like, man, like you guys, Crip Sermon, Black Tusk, Ringworm, like
Under
it's
the
a
bound
stacked
lot.
lineup and like it's nice because like I probably wouldn't have come across your band for years without it being on that lineup, being on the flyer, and like you were one of
Yeah,
the first ones I checked out, and I was like, holy shit, man, let's fucking call these dudes and talk to them.
it is. It
No,
is
that's awesome.
really. It is really great that they're. I mean, it's this is the seventh one they're doing, and somehow because it seems like it would have been a perfect fit for us for a long time, actually. So I'm really glad it's happening now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
uh, uh,
they've asked us for years, but we just haven't been it hasn't been right time, right place to kind of be in town and be prepared to play it. Because we've either been on tour or something else has been going on. So like this year it just finally lined up
Well, this
in the
sounds like
appropriate
really,
way.
it
So, I mean,
sounds really
no,
selfish, but
I'm
I'm
just saying
kind
we're excited.
of, we are
Sorry.
too. We are too. I'm, it sounds kind of selfish, but like I'm kind of glad you guys didn't play earlier years because like now I get to check them out. Last year was the first year I
yeah.
got to see it. So, um,
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
yeah, I was telling Ben earlier, like I just started this whole thing like a year ago, and it's kind of serendipitous how it all worked out. And like I just kind of like want to help bands and like get the scene to grow because if I can make the scene stronger in Pittsburgh, I can get more metal shows, and that's really all I'm after, you know?
No, that rules, and we appreciate it. I mean, the scene in general appreciates more people like yourself kind of putting things together and taking the initiative to just do something for fun, and more voices is always better than less, you
Oh, of
know.
course. Yeah, and like if we can have better concerts, let's get them, you know? Like why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I will say that the in this day and age of like uh I don't know, the internet being such a toxic place, I just feel like yeah, it's nice when people are actually on the ground, kind of as representatives of the what the fourth estate within the music scene. It's good to have because it's just that's such an integral part of a music scene is having people disseminate information and let people know about other bands. And it's just nice to have it happen, kind of on a boots on the ground type of way instead of I don't know. It's just nice that you're out here doing your thing.
Thanks, man. I learned like I told you, I grew up in Penn Hills, which I know you're newer to the area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
Yeah, I know where that is.
so I was like I grew up actually listening to hip hop and
Oh, awesome.
yeah, like my best friend is a kid like his older we were in like 6th grade, but his older brother was going to like a HBC. And so this is
Yeah.
back in like the late 80s, early 90s. So he was bringing that was back in like the tape trading days. So he was
Yeah.
bringing back like I remember like we were getting like Onyx before like Onyx hit it big or like Naughty by Nature or whatever. And then I remember like those days you'd have to like dub it and everything. Whereas now, like I wouldn't have to
Yeah.
wait like 3 months for him to come home at Thanksgiving. Like I can just send a
Right.
file.
Right.
So this is like my like this as much as like I hate streaming and AI and all that kind of like technology. like the streaming itself is nice because like a band from Portugal can say like, "Hey, check out my album," and they just send it over, and it's so
Yeah.
nice
Yo,
for
for
all the
real.
toxicness that comes with it.
Yes, yes, yes. No, it's like you just gotta, it's an environment where, you know what I mean? In order to find the jewels, you gotta wade through the muck sometimes, you know?
Yeah. And that goes right back to like what we were talking about earlier. Like as far as like me getting into this, I had to remap my whole brain. And so
Right.
yeah, from that the rack and all that. So like when I got to remap it, I got to make it the way I wanted and I got to do it the way I wanted. And so
Yeah.
that way I just shaped it to what I wanted it to be and I'll move forward with that. And
You
that's
know, briefly, Dave Varney, I'll just catch you up to speed real quick before you join the Zoom meeting. Then Mike here was just discussing how uh, he had basically a catastrophic head injury, which was the catalyst for him getting into
Oh, oh,
interviewing bands in a really bizarre kind of twist of fate.
yeah.
Uh, and we were discussing how we had a well, I would call it a almost uh, uh, a very common conversation where old people are complaining about getting used to new technology and this format of dealing with the internet and social media. I, for example, right now, friggin' Spotify. I don't even know what to do about that crap. Like, I hate Spotify. And I feel like I'm like trying to rep Bandcamp so hard right now. Like, Bandcamp has always been there,
Yeah.
for little guy, you know what I'm saying? And Spotify is just like another example of like how, I don't know, the music industry has been the decentralization of the music scene since the fall of the record industries has led to even more, well, similarly predatory and exploitative situation.
And
yeah.
I was just talking to a guy yesterday at the show. Like I just started loading. My goal was I was like I want to do 1 year of like groundwork to see like if this is something I even want to do moving forward before I start
Yeah,
investing more money and time. But then like I loved it, so I'm like let's fucking go. So like I started like so I loaded all this shit and I started interviewing bands. I think like this will be like my 50th interview roughly. And so, like, while I was loading them up like one a week, maybe two interviews a week on YouTube, and in between, I load like a song a day from like play for a playlist. I load like
yeah,
concert videos. I do album reviews, unboxings, all kinds of shit. So I'm constantly like loading. So
nice. Yeah,
now that the year is up, I'm like, let's fucking go even bigger. So then I started taking all the old podcasts and uploading them to Spotify. So
yeah.
2 weeks ago, like some PR firm sent me to cover a show, and I was talking to a lady at the poetry bar, and she was like, "You shouldn't upload to Spotify because Spotify's exploitive. They give money to weapons manufacturers." And I'm like,
Right. What
and
do
I'm
you
like,
do?
"But what are you
Ah,
supposed to do? Like,
I
what are you
know,
supposed
I
to
know,
do?
I
How else
know,
am I going
dude.
to get like your word
I
out?"
know. It's so hard, dude. Yeah, it's really rough. I'm conflicted. Like, a buddies of ours, Moxie Beat, they took their band's music off of Spotify, and I was like, damn it. But I don't have the courage to do that right now, unfortunately. I wish I did. But I just feel kind of like, yeah, at the same time, very conflicted. It's hard.
Yeah, like I don't listen on Spotify. I listen on Apple only because like you get paid more and it seems more fair.
Yeah.
And I've
Right, right, right. I
and
mean,
I've
those are valid distinctions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But like what do you
fairness
do?
is
Like
important.
where do you draw a line between like success, getting your word out and like being
Well,
exploited?
so like I feel like, for us, like I feel like whether we are more conscious of it or not, but we definitely lean into, we like to tour, we travel a lot for our band as much as is feasible, and we definitely favor, the personal interaction and the personal connection. One of our shirts for years had the motto "Hang real hard and answer to no one." And for years, people have asked us what that kind of means. And my interpretation is kind of what it means is that we want to, when we come to a place, we want to meet people and like actually hang out with them and like share a little bit of their world on a personal level. And like that's kind of how we favor our connections. We've got friends all over the country that, we won't talk to for months and years at a time. And then when we go on tour, we stay at their house and we hang out like nothing has changed. You know what I mean?
And
And
it's
that's
such
kind
a
of
great feeling.
what. Yeah, it is a good feeling, and it's just something that I don't think we're conscious of it. It's just kind of like that's how our personalities are, and that's kind of how our band manifests itself. And so we tend to be like a mysterious presence that comes and goes like the wind. But when we're there, then we try to make a good impression.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, Dave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ben put it, I mean, succinctly. I mean, we do take priority to, uh, we prioritize in-person relationships and in-person performances. It has been difficult for us to figure out like exactly where to plug in, in regards to the internet, because obviously that's risen to, you know, almost a Titanic umbrella that hangs over us all. It's where a lot of people interact with music, interact with entertainment. And, we haven't really known exactly how we fit into it, because, uh, I mean, aside from being, we've never had any real strong label representation or, any sort of marketing outreach uh, in any real way. It's really just been what any of the five of us previously, just the four of them. I'm the newest guy on the block, but it's just been what you can actually kind of do via a text or a phone call,
Yeah.
or just being somewhere in person. Whereas rather than starting to get into the whole clever business of trying to involve getting yourself like plugged into the algorithm, and how are we going to get eyes to see it, at a certain uh, amount of times, like per hour or per day or whatever. A lot of it is like a really weird game, and a lot of the algorithms are really kind of a black box, and you know
Yep.
how you get in there is not clear. How you're supposed to make a living there is not clear. I mean, you can go into, Spotify is great for having something where you can easily share your music and have it available. But so is Bandcamp. Bandcamp's more immediate, but it's a little bit more difficult because it's not an easy app that you can just plug in. You know what I mean? They don't have it set up like that. Um, and then there's other platforms that work for people like writers, things like Substack. I mean,
Yeah.
YouTube is still a giant company, but it still seems to be, reasonably unfettered, even though there's a lot of things that if you're going to
Well,
try to monetize things on there, I mean, you can run afoul of a lot of different things, based on what you're talking about or doing. Uh,
the YouTube is riddled with AI at this point. It's funny. Like
yeah.
they did a study recently about X, and it was something. And here I am, just like misquoting bullshit. I'm sure, but there's a lot of bots. You know what I mean? Like when people post some shit, like the commenters are like they're like sometimes 70% are just like bots conversing with other bots. Like it's just like a
Crazy.
feedback loop of fucking machines. Uh,
Hmm.
it's so
So yeah,
fucking
it's
bizarre.
I started
go
like
ahead, go ahead.
I started like earlier this year, maybe like March or April. Some company out of France saw one of my videos and was like, "Hey man, we like it. We want you to review music on like Groover." So I started doing that and like doing like some playlist stuff. And then one thing led to another, and then all these like companies start like bombarding you with like, "You can review this on this site for this much money, and you have to have this many reviews." And I was
Yeah.
thinking about it, like I don't make a nickel doing any of this, you know? I just do it
Mhm.
for the scene, or like I mean like yeah, I get
The
into
love
a
of the
show for
game.
free or something, but like that's cool, you know? Like but my goal was like I was like, how am I going to get this to grow? And so I do data and statistical analytics for my job. And so
Yeah.
like
Oh shit.
YouTube was my first go-to because like they have an extensive statistical and analytical database.
They
So
do.
Mhm.
so I was going through all this shit, like what works, what doesn't work. And then I was like, I'm not very smart, I don't think. So like I just was like, man, let's simplify this shit as smart as possible. So I was like, or make it simple as possible. So I was like, if I'm
Yeah.
just nice to people, it's probably gonna work. So like I just tried to like build relationships with people that I like and are positive. And just like I
Yeah.
said, I wanted to map my brain. I was like, there's so much good music out there. I don't need to pick Edhochuli and be like, their fucking album sucks. Like, that's not what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Even though that is a,
why
yeah,
waste
go
my
on.
time shitting on somebody when somebody like you could like benefit positively and promote
Yeah.
positivity? Like,
Yeah. It's like, who wants to be like the Gordon Ramsay of music reviews, you know? Uh
yeah, but that's what the world wants, you know? Like I
right,
noticed.
right.
And what meant the most to me was one dude I work with was like, "Hey man, I think your account's cool because all your followers are like other musicians. Like no people follow you." And I'm like, whatever.
Dude, that's rad. That's
Yeah,
rad.
yeah. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you it might be a bit of a positivity bias that I have, uh, because the way it's not obvious how you game an algorithm that tends to, as they're reinforcing for like time of engagement and time on site or whatever. I will say that, something that you have like in YouTube, for instance, if you make legitimate, good, and engaging content that doesn't just have to be like rage baiting or like, whatever kind of shit that is.
Yeah,
Uh, Whereas, like, if you're on something like an Instagram or X or anything like that, a lot of that seems to be reinforced by, like, what's the thing that we can do to make people as angry as possible so that they can clippity clap, get in
yeah,
there with their opinions and, like, because they want to go back, they want to be like, well, fuck you because X, Y, or Z. But, you know, there's channels on, like, on YouTube, like Rick Beato,
yeah.
who
Great.
has yeah, I don't know if you yeah, he's great because he's positive, he's engaging, he's interested, he's knowledgeable. He goes towards the things that he's interested in, but is very responsive to like what his audience is interested in, but without letting it completely game what his project is.
Yeah,
And I like to believe that, you know, those kinds of things are still possible
Mm,
in
mm.
the mass. And I mean, that's kind of something that, we're not super internet engaged, like as a band, us, but uh, we try to lean, and sometimes it's just like the little
So
weird band that could, we just try to like hold out and like try to put positivity and good times out there and put importance on just being in real life and interacting with people for real.
that's great. Yeah. I was thinking like I was just talking to a guy online. And like I started, and even on the show on Friday night, like I started running these polls because I was just like interested in questions like what other people think, like how musicians listen to music versus fans or ages. Like do old people listen to like albums versus younger with singles? So
yeah.
some guy, we were speaking about the algorithm, he's from Canada on the other side, and he is completely different than me. And so he was saying about how he wishes more bands would be responsive and like how bands because now the social media is constant back and forth like you said
Yeah.
mostly robots but like how it's constantly back and forth.
Mhm.
I feel is like whatever I am, a journalist, critic, just some dumb kid at a computer. But like we feel like we could just reach out and talk to Ed Hockley whenever we want and ask them whatever question we want. And we as fans, listeners, journalists, whatever, think and have the expectation that Ed Hockley needs to respond immediately with their and that's not like how it always was. Like in the 80s, like
Right,
Metallica didn't
right.
want to talk. They go on the tour bus, shut their shit, and that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like the game
Yeah.
has changed and like expectations are different for you guys and us. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it is hard to draw those distinctions, especially because, yeah, it does feel that way. And in a lot of cases, it kind of is that way. You know, I mean, you can reach out, and I know a lot of times, I mean, we do try to respond to people, uh, you know, when they reach out to us, like via Instagram message or when they send us an
Yeah.
email or whatever. I mean, we try to get back to people, but you know, one of the things of the time that we're in, music or anything otherwise, is that now, as you have more demands on your time, you know, everything you're doing is kind of like in a little incidental moment. And so it's like, yeah, you know, I can get back to you, but like sometimes, you know, there's only so much that everybody is able to do also, you know, because, you know,
You
people
know,
have lives, people have families, people have jobs. What
uh,
were you going to say,
uh,
Ben?
if you don't mind, I'm going to try to kind of like package this little thought of mine. So you remember when we were in the airport the other day, Varney, and we were discussing kind of journalism and how it's kind of about walking that fine line between like being able to, kind of like represent the subject to the public in a way that's like honest and serves the needs of the public, but also is respectful to the person you're interviewing. And, it's kind of a fine line. And that subtle kind of balancing act is literally what the function of that, position is. I was discussing with a friend last night about how, it's difficult to be a friend with an artist that they like their music up. For example,
Yes.
like my buddy Dominic, I can't, it's more important that we be buds than I'm like his super fan or like am obsessed with his music because, for us, like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, everyone, everyone has a different kind of role. And like the role of a journalist is important because you're not supposed to pander to artists at the same time. You're not supposed to misrepresent them or utilize them for your own needs necessarily. It's a very interesting and like subtle distinction, and I feel like the mechanics of all those interactions really fascinate me. Fandom in general is a fascinating culture, and I feel like the internet, I don't know, it's done a lot of good in terms of decultifying celebrity, but also it has also intensified the cult of celebrity. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's both things at one time.
Sorry if
Yeah.
that made no sense, but there was just a lot. This conversation is very stimulating, guys. I'm enjoying this.
I am too. I I get a lot of I get a lot of comments because like I'm a very passionate person, and if like you ever see my 60-second videos, it's me like extremely caffeinated, screaming at a camera like about something I like truly and passionately love. Like it's
Yeah.
not hype, it's not fake. Like I'll meet artists from bands that I do videos for, and they're like, "Oh shit, dude, you're like that in real life," and I'm like, "Fucking right, I am. That's how I am." And but I'll get comments like, "Hey, dude, you're totally kissing that band's ass," or like, and I'm like, "Nah,
Mm,
dude, I just
mm,
like their music." But like, if you don't
right.
like me, fuck you, you know? Like, I don't really, I'm not doing this for money or clicks or anything, so I can be
Yeah.
that
Right.
honest, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's kind of like in terms of, being able to I feel like I respect that ethos of I'm going to at least just be sincere to my own self-representation.
Yeah,
Because that's kind of how our band approaches things, you know what I mean? In terms of our public persona and stuff, like we just try to live in such a way that we can just be ourselves around people. It's not that big of a difference when we get out of the van as to when we're in the, inside the van. The jokes are a little less dirty. That's all. But you know,
but from the outside looking
Yeah.
in and like just even talking to you guys for just only a couple minutes, it seems like you guys are like the thing that makes you guys successful as a band and probably human beings is like honesty. Honesty with yourself, honesty with your bandmates, honesty with your music, honesty with your like your morals and values. Like you come in with a democratic process. So like if I introduce this riff, like three out of, I don't know, six of the band members might be like, dude, that shit is ass. Get rid of it.
right?
And you're just, you have to be honest with yourself and say like, you know what? Like I might passionately love this, but everybody else doesn't. And
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess there's not a lot of
but
room
it's
in our in our situation for a lot of bullshit. I don't know. We live pretty close to the we keep things pretty close how would I put it, to the limit of
yeah,
what we can achieve. So we all have to, in order to get anything done, we just have to be pretty upfront about everything. Maybe that's a circumstance. Maybe that's just our personalities. But that's very nice of you to say.
yeah, but it's also, it is difficult, I think, for anybody to really strike that balance because, like, the line between directness and honesty and superficiality and social grace is like very fine, and so it's like you don't, you we try to be respectful of each other, and we try to put things together with respect to the amount of work that has gone into it, and sometimes it can be difficult to be honest, because we all care about each other and we care about the people that we play for, and playing with each other, we all love each other very much. We've
Oh,
been
and
friends for,
yeah, yeah.
but
it's
so it's like you
stroking.
don't,
You gotta stroke sometimes.
yeah, you don't want to just come in and be like, you suck,
Oh
that
yeah,
shit
yeah.
sucks. You gotta work with it a little bit. There's a finesse, and you know everybody has frustrations and everybody has triumphs, and we
Well,
all have our realm.
like willingness to compromise is not the same thing as having no integrity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. I've been married for 20 like 20 years. So I know all about like just I guess it's
Yeah,
not really compromise. I've lost like every battle I've ever fought, you know? Like no, I
I
love
mean,
my
that
wife
is how
though.
it
She's
is. You know what
awesome.
I mean?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
awesome.
it's called
Uh,
soft.
She told me
Soft
Thursday,
power. Yeah.
she was like, you're going to Slayer on Saturday and you got two shows next week. And I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to see Friendship Commanders tonight. She was like, I just said no more shows. And I was like, oh, sorry. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It is difficult to balance those things. You know what I mean?
of course.
I tend to be a person that is overcommitted to lots of things. I have two jobs. I have two bands plus another band I sit in with. I do artwork and stuff on the side. It's like I got a lot of things to balance all the time, and it could do your head in a bit. You know what I mean? Plus, I you know uh, have a long term partner, and you have to prioritize like being there,
Yeah,
and being engaged in your relationship.
yeah,
And I know you
Yeah,
have kids, like those things take precedence, but I mean, these are the things of life. You know,
of course.
dude. It's funny. Like the thing is, desire, materialism. It's all a path to struggle and frustration. But here's the thing: you got a bunch of shit you want. It's all on like your table, and like sometimes it's not in the right order. Sometimes it's a friggin' mess. But like, it's all on there, and that's that's what's important.
Hell yeah,
Maybe
man.
it'll look pretty later on, but like as long as it's all fucking there, it's good.
Yeah, just got to
yeah,
keep on keeping on, man.
Baby.
yeah.
Yeah,
And sometimes, and good things don't come fast. That's something else that struggles in the time that I think that we live in, is that
yes.
we've gotten used to everything being immediate. It's happening now. Everything's, what have you done for me lately, et cetera, et cetera. And
Oh,
sometimes you just have to spend the time it takes, the time it takes to do
Yeah,
something good. And you know,
we it's all about, it's like I feel very important. It's very important for me to have gratitude at this point in my life, you know what I mean? There's so much
yeah,
I very much believe that you know, it's all about the maintaining the illusion of control is is what I do. But like basically, I'm always very grateful that things have wound up the way they are because there's no life has no need to be gentle or fair, and and so I really do feel like just super fortunate to have wound up in this awesome situation here. um did you know we have
Yeah.
two drummers?
I did, and man, we only got 3 minutes left, and I could probably do a half-hour discussion
Okay.
on why the hell you guys got two drummers. Like, I was talking about that yesterday. I was like, I've heard of like twin guitarists, but twin drummers, like, I was like, what the hell? And then my buddy was like, he's more musically inclined than me, and I was like, that's really cool, though. I can't wait to see it, you know? Well, hey, we only got 2.5 minutes left.
That's what should we wrap? What should we hit before we go?
I
Yeah.
would like to
What do you
hit
want to
that.
talk about?
I would like to hit that everybody should go out and pick up a copy of the Highlander album. It's confusing as hell to say.
It's
And
fun.
everybody should definitely check out you guys and a bunch of other bands. Check out Edhochuli at the Descendants of Crom Festival, the 26th and 27th at the Thunderbird Cafe in Lawrenceville and Pittsburgh. Badass bands from Black Seed Services. Go check it out. That's
Good.
that. And I
Yes.
want to thank
Yes,
you
please
guys
do.
too for taking time out of your hectic lives and share it with me, you know?